This is Pioneer Field Agronomist Scott Eversgerd with this week's weekly agronomy update. Got a lot of calls beginning last week about soybeans, particularly areas in the field that seem to be wilting, turning yellow, and eventually dying off. As we sent a lot of these samples off, what we're coming back with is one of three pathogens, just as we pretty well suspected. It's either Fusarium, Pythium, or Phytophthora or root rot. And all three of the pathogens basically are doing the same thing, either girdling the stem, getting into the stem, killing the translocation of the water nutrients up, or it's basically affecting the roots, and the roots are consequently dying back, and then the top of the plant dies back. In a few cases, we've seen some roots trying to regrow. Obviously, without really good conditions, that's going to be tough to do, and probably going to see some of those beans go ahead and die. As we kind of dry out here a little bit, and obviously this week going to be pretty hot, that should hold these pathogens back a little bit, so hopefully we won't see these areas spread too much. But at the same time, if you've got some infection going on, you've got a compromised root system, and now you get drought stress on top of that, you could continue to see the lingering effects in some areas. So as the root system is weakened, anything else out there that affects the root system and its ability to uptake water nutrients will just compound the issue. So if you're getting some really light soil areas, or if you're getting into some compaction, things like that, where you already got a root system that's compromised, these pathogens will definitely take advantage of that, and you'll see the beans go backwards quickly. Some of the earliest beans planted earlier in May obviously are not showing the signs as bad. So the bigger the beans, the better, so to speak. They just got a root system developed. Even if the pathogen's there, the system and the plant's big enough to go ahead and overcome that pathogen. So I have to continue to watch it. The soybean seed treatments, as we know, only give us around 3 weeks of protection, and they run out. So that's why we're seeing kind of this development here as of late. One quick thing on milo. There are some armyworms showing up in milo or grain sorghum. So if you do have any of that out there, that seems to be the choice right now for where the armyworms are at. So it'd be worth a walk out in your milo fields to see if there's any armyworms floating around. And finally on corn, looks like we're definitely headed into a very warm week this week. We're going to see how some areas have been able to catch some showers over the past week. Other areas have remained pretty dry. So with the heat, there is a potential what we could start to really see is some kernel abortion on the tips of the ears. Keep in mind, Easy Math says every kernel row around in length is worth about 5 bushel. So if you look at the difference between a 30 long and a 40 long, is going to be somewhere around 40 to 50 bushel difference in yield. So to give you an indication of how much yield you're actually losing in a day if the corn starts to abort back, and every time you lose a row length is more or less 5 bushel. So we'll continue to watch the corn. Hopefully a lot of it's going to get through okay, but definitely some dry areas out there are probably going to see a little bit of a drought stress and a little bit of kernel abortion. As always, if you have any questions, please contact your local Pioneer rep. Thanks.